All right, court calls the people of the state of Michigan versus Scott James Bozak, case number 25-4354 FY.
Is it all for the people?
Allison Castles and Attorney Lynn Getz on behalf of Mr. Bosak.
All right, and we are here for a preliminary examination and a bond motion. Where do things sit first with the prelim?
I've talked to Mr. Bosak and we'll be waiving the examination.
No objection from the prosecution.
All right, has there been a form circulated for signatures yet? Or do we need to do that here in the courtroom?
We have it prepared, but I was holding back on sending it to the court in order to still be heard on the record today.
Have you gotten Mr. Bozak's signature from that yet?
I received permission to, so I will just be putting on.
Oh, you've got permission. All right, I'm sorry. All right, so let's then move to the bond motion. Ms. Castles, I believe this is your motion, so you have the floor, ma'am.
I would just be renewing our prior motions for the reconsideration of Mr. Bosak's bond. At the last preliminary examination date, it was reduced to $25,000 with no 10% deposit. We were requesting $25,000 with a 10% deposit. This was not objected to by the prosecutor. I'd just like to note that Mr. Bosak has been in custody since his arrest on October 10th, so for approximately 75 days. There have been multiple adjournments with those largely or not being his fault. They were largely due to discovery, and then the most recent being due to Ms. Carey's request to adjourn based on her caseload. For the reasons previously stated on the record at prior hearings, we would submit that Mr. Bosak is not a risk to the community, nor is he a flight risk. He's only local to the community, and as referenced in the in our motion, he would be released to his mother's house. His mother has no criminal record. I believe she said she had an OWI in about 2010, but nothing aside from that. While at that residence, he would also be reunited with his children, who are his greatest motivation for getting out. So we would just be asking that the court grant this and modify Mr. Bosak's bond to allow for the $25,000 with a 10% deposit.
Thank you. Give me just a moment here. Do we have an address for his mother's home?
I would defer to him. She's typically in the courtroom for, but she has been present for all of his prior hearings.
Mr. Bozak, is she here? Right there. All right. Bailiff, can you have her write her address down on this pad, please? Ms. Dull?
Bernard, although the people did not respond by a written motion, I do object to the bond being reduced or set at 10% with a current amount of $25,000. The reason for that is we are looking at very serious charges in this case. There's a significant amount of drugs found and a firearm found in the RV that was occupied by Mr. Bozak. And reading through the police report, there's a confidential informant that states that Mr. Bozak is delivering drugs throughout this community. So he is a danger to the community, and considering the seriousness of the charges and the possibility of him facing decades in prison in these charges, we ask the bond to remain as such.
What does he score at?
I just got this case reassigned to me. I did not score him yet, Your Honor.
Ms. Castles, have you done any preliminary scoring on Mr. Bozak?
I have. Allow me one moment to pull up where I was at. I have him scoring. I have him scoring at 0 to 17.
Is that as charged or is that based on an offer? And I don't need to know what the offer is if there is one, but
That was as charged.
that's as charged. Does that take into account the second sub?
That does not, no.
So that's just based on the delivery charge.
Yes.
So the second sub would double that tail end then. All right. And if convicted of the felony firearm, that's a mandatory 2-year ahead of that. Anything else, Ms. Castles?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to highlight for the enhancement for the possession of meth, that was based on a possession of marijuana charge from 2010. While that doesn't negate it, it does speak to the background. And then as it relates to the firearms, this firearm belonged to his wife, was registered to his wife, and is not something, once evidence is presented, that we believe he would be convicted of.
Ms. Castles, are you able to send that waiver in right now so we can all handle that before we send him back to the jail?
Yes, I can send that in right now.
All right, send it to Ms. Golnick if you would, please.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, as we all know, Mr. Bozak has been in jail for quite a while, a lot longer than what this court would have liked to have seen. He's been in since he was arraigned on October 13th. Bond was originally set at $100,000. Eventually, it was reduced to the $25,000 cash surety. We've heard multiple times we've been in here about the number of weapons that has been that were found at the property. However, no charges have come out of that. Well, I do understand that there is a confidential informant in this case, or based on what I've read, he does score 0 to 17. While I'm not making a judgment call on this, my experience is usually the bargaining chips are the felony firearms and the second subsequents and their enhancements. So looking at the potential sentence in this case, the court is going to grant a personal recognizance bond with the following conditions. Mr. Bozak, you are to not consume alcohol. You'll be subject to random testings, no controlled substances, including recreational marijuana, and random testings. I am going to place you on a GPS tether house arrest to your mother's house at this address that was provided to us. You are to appear as ordered, keep your contact information current, not leave the state without permission, and to commit no new crimes. I'm also going to add that you not have any weapons, including firearms, that you not act in any threatening, intimidating, or harassing behavior. Anything else for the record, counsel?
Your Honor, I would ask that he also be prohibited from contacting the other people involved in this case. I may have a moment.
So I know Mrs. Bozak had a charge.
So Richard Fowler, James Huston, Nicholas Eamon, Polly Hansen, Summer Mullins.
Okay, slow down.
I
So,
apologize.
so who all? So we've got Mr. Failer.
Correct. Miranda Bozak,
Okay.
James Huston, Huston. Nicholas Eamon.
Okay.
Holly Hanson, Holli, Hanson, Hanson.
Okay.
Summer Mullins,
All right.
Eric Newell,
Is that with a N?
Newell.
And are these witnesses co-defendants? I know Ms. Bozak was a co-defendant.
Your Honor, these were all the people in this little compound of all of the trailers in the area that were searched. We believe they're associated in this. Crime.
How so associated?
So the allegations say that there were sales and distribution between the trailers and distribution for further sale within the trailers. From my reading of the police report, I understand this is quite a big search warrant that searched multiple properties, but they're all on the same kind of plot of land in a semicircle, and the parties involved, although some of them claim they were not aware it's drugs all around the area. So that is why the people are requesting that there not be contact, as I believe they're potential witnesses within these cases, and also sharing some responsibility for the drug sales going on in the community.
Where does Ms. Dahl, do you know where Ms. Bozak's case stands? Is she?
I am not assigned to that case, so I apologize. I don't have any information. As I said, I just recently got assigned this case.
Sure. All right, the court will enter a no contact again for Ms. Miranda Bozak. However, I am not going to request a order no contact with the other parties. This case has been outstanding since October. If charges were forthcoming, I would think they'd be brought by now. So I will not order it against the others. Do we have the bind over yet? Ms. Castles, have you sent that?
Yes, it's been sent.
I don't have it.
Okay, we haven't received it yet, so what I'll ask you to do is hang tight there. We'll put Mr. Bozak back in the tombs, and then if we don't get it in a couple minutes, we'll have you resend it, all right?
Understood.
This is case number 255042FY. Appearances, counsel?
Nick Carnes on behalf of the people.
Robert Hartzell from Mr. Gildner, who joins me at the table.
All right, you all may be seated. We are here for a couple of different matters. We're scheduled for a preliminary examination. However, just before we went on the record this afternoon, the court was presented with an amended complaint. So I'm going to need to amend or arraign Mr. Gildner on the amended complaint. And then I assume there's going to be a request for an adjournment. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, I did regroup with my client, and we would request that. I believe the people are as well.
All right. So let's take care of the arraignment first. Mr. Gildner, I have an amended complaint that alleges between the dates of February 13th, 2024 and August 2nd, 2024 in the city of Cadillac of Wexford County, I'm going to start with count number 2 because count number 1 was just dismissed by the prosecutor. So count number 2 is capturing, distributing image of an unclothed person from August 2nd of 2024. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and or a fine of $5,000. Additionally, registration under SORA. Count number 3 is computers using to commit a crime with a maximum imprisonment of 4 years or more, but less than 10 years. That is a felony punishable by up to 7 years in prison and or a fine of $5,000. In count number 4, it's alleged that you committed the offense of child sexually abusive activity. That is a 20-year felony punishable by up to 20 years and or $100,000 fine. Additionally, that is a SORA registry charge. That arises from an event on February 13th of 24. In count number 5, the same charge, child sexually abusive activity from February 13th of 24. Again, that is a 20-year felony and or a fine of $100,000 in SORA registration. In count number 6, it's alleged that you committed the same offense of child sexually abusive activity on the same date. That again is a 20-year felony and or a fine of $100,000 with SORA registration requirements. Additionally, the prosecution has elected to charge you as a habitual 4th offender. That means that you have at least 3 prior either completed or attempted felonies in your past. That makes the count number 2, the 5-year felony, a 15-year felony. Count number 3, the 7-year felony up to a life offense. And counts 4, 5, and 6 would be up to life offenses as well. Do you understand those charges and the potential penalties?
Yes, sir.
You do have the same rights that you had at the original arraignment, but I'll go through those with you again. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or write can and will be used against you. You also have the right to have an attorney present during any questioning you consent to, and the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to be represented by an attorney at all phases throughout this process. And if you cannot afford one, one would be appointed to represent you at public expense, but you may be required to repay a portion of that expense. I do know that Mr. Hartel has been appointed to represent you, so we will continue that appointment and enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Counsel, I assume the request is because of the amended complaint. That's why we want to adjourn today. Am I correct on that?
Yes, Your Honor, the people would extend the current offer, and I just think it's fair to give the defendant time to think about that, given the situation.
Do you want to reset it for another probable cause conference or just adjourn the preliminary examination?
I'm fine with just adjourning the preliminary examination. I'm sure Mr. Hartel and I can communicate.
I would concur with that, Your Honor.
All right. How long of an adjournment do you want?
I think setting it for is it January 6th would be the next?
So technically the next one would be next Tuesday, but we can do that or the 6th, however you want to do it.
I'll leave it up to defense. So either.
Your Honor, my client advised me that it's family court on the 6th. I don't know the exact date, but a different date might be best.
Okay. Well, if we set it for next week, that's probably not going to be enough time for the prosecution to get their subpoenas out for witnesses and served. If he's got court on the 6th, we will set it for the 13th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And if you need it, if we need to do anything before that, we can certainly do that. I should ask, Mr. Hartel, do you waive time requirements?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Carnes?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else for the record?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your Honor, I know the odds probably aren't the best since we're adding charges and not taking away, but if we could in theory address bond, I know my client would appreciate that.
Any objection, Mr. Carnes?
I do object, Your Honor. If defense wants to submit a written motion, I would be happy to respond to that.
All right. The people do have the right to proper notice, so Mr. Hartel, you'll have to file a motion and properly set it. All right. Just a reminder that bond conditions continue then.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay. Just in case we get